How's it going, guys? I can't believe I'm back in the United States after over a month in Europe, but honestly, it's awesome to be home. However, that trip was incredible. I got a new camera. A lot of you guys were noticing that the autofocus on my old camera wasn't working very well. It was really starting to frustrate me, and the second people started noticing it online, I'm like, okay, I gotta get rid of this. So hopefully this new camera is better. The reason I'm wearing this outfit is I'm going to play golf with my buddy Shane, but before that, we're taking out his manual 992 GT3 for a drive. I've honestly missed driving the Plaid. I took the McLaren out the other day for lunch as well. Oh, these cars are epic. Also, huge news, Mercedes might bring back the V8s in their C63 and E63. If they can figure out a way to meet emission standards with those V8s, it's an absolute no-brainer. Obviously, that's the direction that every single person wants for the brand. Damn, Mercedes left me on scene. I hope that means they're making V8. Well, guys, here she is, a manual 992 GT3. I've reviewed the standard 992 GT3. It was a PDK. It was fantastic, but I wished it was the manual. So I'm super thankful that Shane is letting me drive this car today. Now, I told him this wasn't a good idea because this is such an incredible car, but Shane is actually selling his 992 GT3 on pocketlistautos.com. By the time this video posts, the auction will be live. So if you guys want, I've got a link in the description below. This is one of the coolest spec'd and tastefully modded 992 GT3s for sale right now, and the reserve price is honestly really competitive. So some mods for you guys. We've got XPEL Stealth. The car is black, but now it is satin black thanks to the XPEL Stealth. Looks really good, and obviously it protects the paint as well. But the best mods are it has a full FI exhaust, headers, and exhaust. Love the wheels. The black looks fantastic. Those carbon ceramic brakes. And then of course, one of the best parts about the 992 GT3 is the swan neck style wing. The reason they have the wing stanchions go on top of the wing instead of underneath is that allows for more clean airflow underneath the wing and thus higher downforce. In fact, this combined with the massive rear diffuser results in 150% more downforce than the 991.2 GT3, which is a massive difference. Got a load of that FI exhaust. Those tips are absolutely gorgeous. That exposed carbon fiber, I love that. Honestly, all black is so awesome. It's also got a yellow roll cage. Let's go ahead and open up the interior. Black interior, the optional carbon fiber bucket seats from the 918 Spider. Really, really clean trim in here. Yellow seat belts. That yellow roll cage looks fantastic. And also the yellow Sport Chrono and some yellow accents there on the tachometer. As most of you guys know, the 992 GT3 is powered by a 4-liter flat 6 that makes 502 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. Now, in PDK form, Porsche says it can sprint from 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. People have tested it down to 2.7. Porsche also claims it's about half a second slower with the manual, but trust me, having driven it just a brief short distance, and now we're gonna take it out into the canyons, the manual is the right option. The carbon buckets are so cool. That exposed carbon is absolutely gorgeous. Now, they're manually adjustable, but we also have a little bit of electronic controls here that kind of tilts the seat, raises it, and lowers it, and obviously manual for forward and backwards. Let's go ahead and hop in. I love the fact that despite it having digital screens to the left and to the right, and of course a big display over here, it has an analog tachometer that revs to 9,000 RPM. That's honestly one of the best, if not the best parts of this car. To fire up the GT3, foot on the clutch, it's got this kind of fake key here. We'll turn that on. This right here is where the magic happens, the 6-speed manual transmission. Doesn't have a 7-speed manual like some of the older cars. The linkage is absolutely incredible. It's not quite as stiff in terms of the linkage as previous generation manual Porsches, which I like. I think it feels fantastic. We of course have the drive mode selector here. So if we go ahead and turn that, you'll see up on the display, you can go from normal mode, sport to track. Now in normal mode, it doesn't actually automatically rev match for you. So if you want to rev match yourself, you can put it into normal mode and you can blip the throttle. If you put it into sport or track, it automatically rev matches for you. In track, ESC is turned off, but you can press this button right here and you can actually customize the track settings and the sport settings to your liking. Let's go into track. auto blip, so you can turn that off actually if you want to row your own gears. And let's actually turn ESC back on in track mode as we blast up the canyons here. We've also got a shift indicator light right here as you rev it. I'm absolutely in love with this car. I can't believe he's selling it, but somebody's gonna be a lucky owner of a perfectly spec'd and well taken care of GT3. Once again, it's for sale on pocketlistautos.com. I've got a link in the description below. All right, let's take this thing out for a drive. All right, guys, behind the wheel of the GT3 now. And this is one of my favorite cars of all time, so I'm so stoked. I mean, listen to that flat six. It produces one of the best exhaust notes of any cars in the entire world. Oh my gosh. Now, a big deal for this GT3 generation is it's the first GT3 to have double wishbone front suspension. So you can put a lot more tire down to the ground, a bigger contact patch at any given time, meaning more front grip and better cornering ability. Despite the fact that it weighs the same as the previous generation GT3, roughly, although the cool part with the manual is you save 40 pounds over the PDK. Because of its revised aerodynamics, its revised rear wheel steering, its double wishbone suspension, it's 17 seconds faster around the Nürburgring than the previous generation GT3. All right, let's give this thing some gas. Oh my God, it just sounds so good. And it's got so much mechanical grip. The level of confidence this car gives you. And because it's 502 horsepower and not 900, you can really push this thing in the canyons and have more fun than you could in a higher horsepower car, just because it's more usable power. And you've got the most linear power band of all time. Oh my God, this thing is so addicting to drive. All right, I'm gonna be quiet for a second, let you listen to this thing. It's so nimble, it's so light on its feet. I can't think of a better car for this road right now than this GT3. And with that FI exhaust, it absolutely screams. I mean, my God. And I love the shift indicator light on the tachometer. It's such a pleasing gauge cluster to look at. On this thing. This is epic. This is the pinnacle of Porsche engineering, honestly. And you can't get the new 992 GT3 RS in a manual. So really, if you want the ultimate GT Porsche experience with the manual transmission, this is it. Unless you get that new, if you're one of the lucky few to get that new special edition that they just came out with, the ST. That's basically a GT3 RS with the manual. But you gotta be a big Porsche client to get a car like that. Wow. Despite having electronic assisted steering, the steering feel is phenomenal in this thing. It really is impressive. Porsche does everything right. From the suspension to the brakes, to the engine, to the transmission. The clutch feel is fantastic. It's firm, but it's not too intense. It's not gonna wear you out completely if you're driving this thing a lot. But at the same time, it's not super loose and it's not rubbery. The shifter feel isn't rubbery like you get in most modern day BMWs. It's just such a perfect setup. Oh my God. Some uninterrupted acceleration noises. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video. This thing is so sick.